Hello, my name is Christian. Welcome to this video. We're going to talk about the GMAT exam. Okay, so sort of like an introduction to the GMAT exam. Maybe you've taken a GMAT already, maybe it's going to be your first time, but let's talk about the most important aspects that you should consider. First, the GMAT is a computer adaptive test that runs with an algorithm in the background. Okay, so what this algorithm does is it tries to find your skill level with a set number of questions. So in math, for example, it's 31 questions. And at the beginning, you're going to find that there's a lot of variation because the GMAT doesn't have a lot of data about you. Right? In the first question, it only knows what you do with that first question. But once you get to question 20, for example, the decision about what your skill level is not only based on that question, but on all your previous answers. So when you answer correctly, it might go up, and when you answer incorrectly, it might go down. Right? That is the tendency. And so pretty much it has made up its mind by the end. Okay. Also, the sections that you're going to see in the exam, first is analytical writing assessment, also called AWA. And this essay is similar to critical reasoning. So you've seen verbal, maybe. There's a section called critical reasoning in which you have to analyze arguments, and AWA is very similar to that. And then you have integrated reasoning. So integrated reasoning is like math and verbal mixed together. Right? You have tables, you have text, you have different types of problems. They're not the same as quantum verbal. You even have a calculator, right? It's not always recommended that to use the calculator, but there are some calculations that you have to do with decimals, for example. That's when it comes in handy. Okay. Next, you have the quant section, which is what we're going to cover in this course, and then the verbal section. Okay. Now, you can select the order in which you take these sections. The typical order was the essay, IR, quant, and verbal. That was for many years. But in 2017, they changed so that you can have these two other options. You can start with quant, then verbal, and then the essay and IR. Or you can start with verbal, quant, and then the essay and IR. Now, why is this very, very important? Because for the score that you're looking for, maybe 600, 650, 700, maybe 800, the only sections that count or that matter are these two sections. So the essay and IR have a score that is separate and it doesn't affect. Okay, you can even get 0 on these two and score 700, but in most cases, that's not what you want. Obviously, if you're very good in quant and verbal, you are going to be good in these two sections as well. Okay. Well, how do you choose between them? Okay, so here's the reasoning behind what most students say when they choose the first one. The first one is mostly chosen by students that get very nervous at the beginning of the exam. So they want to come into the testing center, sit down in the chair, play around with the computer in the essay and during IR, and so they get comfortable, right? They get comfortable being there, and so the nervousness has lowered down by the time they reach quant, and so they can get more focused. Now, starting with quant and verbal is for those that want to jump in on the action right away. Okay. They say, I don't want to waste my time with these two sections that don't contribute to my score. I want to start fresh, right? I'm all pumped up. I have the energy. And so they start with quant first, and then verbal, and then the rest. Like it's like the sections that don't matter as much, leave them for the end. Okay, the third option is to start with verbal. Now, these are chosen mostly by students that when they reach verbal and when they are past half verbal, for example, they feel really tired. Okay, the texts are long, trying to reason with the argument, etc. It's very demanding. So they tend to start with verbal so that they are not very tired. Okay, and usually since they are good at quant, they know that even if they are a little bit tired, they can do well. Okay. Other things that they say, for example, if they start with quant, is that since they are good in quant, they want to start with a win. They say, okay, so if I start with a win, I'm going to be more motivated for verbal, things like that. What I would suggest is that you try them all, and you can do that with the GMAT prep software, which you can download from mba.com, and try out all three and see which one makes you feel better and which one maybe you score higher. Okay. Now, on the official test day, if you don't like your score, maybe you're hoping for example, 700 and you got 680 or 670, you can cancel your score. Right? Now, what cancellation means is that it's as if you have never taken the exam. Okay? It doesn't appear on records and it's not sent to the universities that you have chosen. You can choose during the exam. At the end, they give you a little bit of time, like 2 minutes, to choose if you want to keep your score or you want to cancel. Okay. Now, if you don't want to decide there, you can decide up to 72 hours after the exam, and you can cancel online. Now, obviously, that comes with a fee, and the fee is in the GMAT website. Okay, say for example, you cancel your score, you had a 670, which is pretty good. Maybe the next time that you take the GMAT, you get a 650 for whatever reason, let's say. And you miss your 670, maybe your deadline is coming, you say, man, I wish I hadn't canceled that 670. There's a solution. You can reinstate your score. It's like reviving from the dead, your score. Okay, so you can reinstate your score, obviously with a fee. It's also a fee. And you have like nearly 5 years to do this, because the time frame in which your score is valid is exactly 5 years. So you can reinstate your score up to 4 years and 11 months after you have taken your exam. Okay, that is what the official GMAT website says, until your score is valid. So if you don't like your score, you want to only show the highest one, you can cancel, and then if you want to reinstate any other previous scores, you can do that. Okay. Okay, next, after you have taken the exam, let's say for whatever reason you got that 670, and you're wondering, why in the world did I get 670? Like, what happened, right? What happened during the exam? You can purchase the GMAT Enhanced Score Report, okay? This usually takes about 24 hours to be available once you purchase, but what it gives you is it's like an overall view of what happened during your exam. The catch is that you're not going to see exactly the same questions that you saw, because the main objective of the GMAT is not that their questions come to the public. Okay? They want to keep their questions like secret, because if many people saw the official questions that are coming recently, it would be an advantage. Okay, so you don't see the questions that you saw, and that's a bummer, because you want to know which ones you failed, right? But you see, for example, the trend in the level of difficulty, and you also see sort of like what percentage did you get wrong in blocks, okay? And you also see the time that you took for those blocks of questions. Actually, I'm going to show you right now in your screen. So what you're looking at is actually my enhanced report when I took the exam. So I'm only showing you math because I'm good at math and not so good at verbal. So this is what I want to show you. You see that in the section about the types of questions, you can see how you perform in data sufficiency, problem solving, and the times, right, that you took. You can also see the questions divided in blocks of like 10 questions each, more or less 9, and how you performed in each. Right? You can also see the difficulty level of each section, each block of questions, and you can also see how much time you took in those blocks of questions. Okay, so that was the enhanced score report. Now I want to close this video talking about study tips, right? Because I know most of you are working and time is difficult to come by. Maybe you can only study on the weekends, you can only study late at night or very early in the morning. Trying to find a block of time can be hard, and that is usually one of the things that make students study for longer, right? Those are the roadblocks. Okay? So you have to consider a plan for the week. Say, for example, on Sunday, you sit down and say, okay, so for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, what am I going to see? What am I going to study or cover each day? And make a plan. Because what you don't want to do is sit down and say, okay, what's up? Maybe I'm going to do some fractions, I'm going to do some probabilities. You want to have a focus, because that way you can also see during the week what you're going to be progressing, right? You want to see progress and you want to build confidence that way. Now, once you have that, what you want to do is put it in your calendar. Set time blocks as meetings so that you can see them in your calendar and look forward to them. If you're going to wait for time or free time to pop up here and there, it's not going to happen. Okay. Now you also have to think about, you don't need 5 hours straight to study. You don't need to say, if I only get 50 minutes, I'm not going to do much. If you already have it planned out, you really can do much, since you are building them together, right? For example, during one day, if I know I have like 30 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the afternoon, and 1 hour in the evening, and you already plan them out, you already know what you're going to achieve that day. Okay, and so you just get to that meeting, for example, and just do it. Just do your exercises, review your formulas, or watch the videos, right? Watch the videos, and you can progress that way. Okay, so that's it for the video. Your homework, if you choose to accept it, is going to do this. Right? Your plan for the week and put it on your calendar. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.